What's up, YouTube? On this video, we're gonna be reacting to an Allen simulation. I think that's his channel video of Steph and Curry. I mean, oh my God, Curry and Shaq playing on the same team. So yeah, as y'all know, Curry is one of my favorite players. So yeah, let's get into it.
What if we take Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in NBA history, and make him team up with Shaquille O'Neal?
They're getting at least 10 rings minimum.
Meaning after the 2009 NBA draft, Shaq is becoming a member of the Golden
I watched the video with Curry and Bron, and they got like 11, but I think this duo gonna be even better.
But down the line, they will be playing with some other very talented players, including one of the greatest.
That trio finna be dirty. Steph, KD, Shaq, Clay, Draymond. That whole starting five is dirty.
But a whopping 11 championships in his career. So now the magic number
They
is
could
12
easily
for
beat
this
that.
duo to be able to go down as the most winning players in the history of the NBA. And in their rookie debut season, they were already looking to start contending for a championship, because this pairing was looking to be more perfect than even I had expected. Having a dominant big man to run the pick and roll with is something we've never seen Curry have access to in real life. And already in just one season with Shaq as a rookie, his stats will benefit drastically. But stats this good, you think he'd win a Rookie of the Year. But he didn't. His own teammate was stealing the award from him with an absolutely dominant first year. With 23.5 points per night, Shaq was leading his entire team in scoring. And that isn't where things would stop, because he would completely hold down the paint by leading his team in rebounds and blocks, which would be enough for another trophy. In just his rookie year, Shaq was earning the Defensive Player of the Year
as a rookie is crazy. Oh, let me move this. Let me move this. Oh, my fault.
With one another to determine who is the greatest of all time. And the personal trophies they earn will be a major deciding factor in who earns that title. But for now, with no trophies, they prepare for their playoff debut after landing the 5th seed.
They already doing better than Bron and Curry.
In just year one, but now in the playoffs, they have a major hurdle ahead of them, and their season might be over. That's because OKC
are you hating already?
Promising young stars.
Bro, I don't know what the move is.
At nearly 7 feet
Let's
tall,
over
and
here.
can do literally everything on the court. The Warriors had one of the best offenses in the league with their dominant duo, but their defense was not prepared. It was no surprise that he'd be leading his team to the first win in the series. But now we have the opportunity to see how our stars respond. In just year one, they have a chance to establish themselves as the real deal. Now on the road in game 2, they came out scorching hot in an attempt to fight back in this series. Most analysts had wrote them off already, but they were confident that their youth was an advantage more than a disadvantage. Backed by massive games from both Steph and Shaq together, they were winning this one on the road to tie it back up. And moving back to their home court, that same confidence was carrying them in front of their home fans. It was quickly looking like this team was already good enough to shock the world. They were taking another win
like
and the
you
lead in the
talking about.
series. But we can't get ahead of ourselves, because Durant was going to make this anything but easy for Golden State. He was single-handedly keeping up with the scoring of Steph and Shaq combined, and with him playing at this high of a level, anything was possible in this series. Both teams would clash back and forth over the next 3 games, and it would seem they were equally matched as this thing got forced into a Game 7. Winning this match would be tremendous for our duo. As a reminder, they're trying to win 12 rings in just 15 years, so getting a playoff series under their belt would be good progress for year 1. But was their inexperience going to get in the way of a determined Kevin Durant? Because he's been building up for this type of moment, he was going to keep this matchup within arm's length all the way through. And while we'll see plenty of him in the future, for this season, these are the final moments. Because Shaq was having his best game of the season at exactly the right time. He was nearly perfect from the field in a 44-point effort, fueled by low post dominance and an unstoppable pick and roll with Steph. In enemy territory, our team was getting this thing done to advance to the next round. With that round featuring the Black Mamba and the defending champions, this would ultimately be where their season was coming to an end. Kobe Bryant was in a league all of his own, and while the Warriors fought hard, it wasn't enough. The Lakers are coming on top after 5. But regardless, they should still be happy about already winning a series, because that experience is going to be critical entering season 2. With a full season of experience under their belts, these two stars were starting to take over the Western Conference. The media coverage was expanding, and everyone's eyes were on this duo and just how far they could take the Warriors. Their stats didn't see much change from the previous year, but their efficiency was noticeably different, and they were making their teammates around them better. Overnight, they became a fan-favorite sensation, and this year, they'd earned the second seed heading into the postseason. Come the first round, Shaq and Curry were fully in sync, and their chemistry was sky high as they faced off against the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis was known for their gritty and physical style of play, but all that did was fuel Shaq to attack back. It was a dominant performance by the Aristotle, and he'd be leading the force in the sweep. But the real test was winning.
Oh my God, bro!
A rematch against the great Kobe Bryant. Last year, the Warriors
is he not old yet?
but with more resiliency now, they were prepared to get revenge. While Shaq was leading the way last round, this series would be Curry taking control. With the aged Fisher being their best option to guard him, we'd be witnessing threes launched from all over. Steph was stepping up to the occasion, but the outcome of the series didn't show it. With Kobe on the other end, there was no guarantee to win a best-of-7 series, regardless of
how old is Kobe at this point?
The was plenty capable of outclassing any other team that finds itself in his path, and this series was no different. Every match this series would be close and come down to the final possession. But in the end, the Lakers had the X factor with Kobe.
They got swept?
A sweep of the hopeful Warriors. It was a devastating loss for the Warriors, and they were quickly humbled after having championship aspirations. Steph and Shaq have been playing great, but another tough playoff loss. Honestly, they just might be missing that one piece to get over the hump. In the 2011 draft, the Warriors were adding a new sharpshooter and great defender to the roster. Klay Thompson was just what the team needed to create more space for both Curry and Shaq. As only a rookie, he wasn't making a massive personal impact, but he made a huge difference for the team with his shooting. But this season's story isn't actually about Klay Thompson and his shooting. Instead, we have to talk about the exceptional play of Shaq. This year, he picked things up a notch and was expanding on his already incredible play. Thompson's additional shooting opened things up drastically for O'Neal down low, and
27 and 14. Damn near 28 and 15.
The season would conclude with Shaq being crowned the MVP in just his third year, as he was the
hella ugly.
Shaq himself was also improving from the first 2 years and also benefited from Thompson's spacing and the rise of Shaq. Like his co-star, his stats were making a leap over the previous years, but unfortunately the spotlight was on O'Neal. He was standing out as the better player so far with the first MVP, but heading into the playoffs as the 1 seed, Steph could tie it up with the Finals MVP. But the only issue being,
oh my God, bro.
Round 2 yet again. As a reminder, the last 2 seasons have both ended to the hands of this man right here. But this season will be completely different with the MVP. While the Lakers had solid bigs like Bynum and Gasol protecting the paint, it wasn't going to be able to stop the rampage that Shaq was on this year. As ironic as it was, O'Neal was willing his team past Kobe and finally defeated the Lakers to advance. In their first conference a team that they know they can defeat. They were facing OKC again, who just a few years ago, they overcame in intense Game 7. This matchup, however, wouldn't be going the distance, because just like last round, the MVP Shaq was too much for anyone to contain.
Who is that guarding him?
Would struggle with a lack of
hope they ain't expect to win with that dude guarding him.
Everything right. On mismatches, he was attacking, and on any double teams, he was kicking out to the great shooters.
Like they just imported a creative player into this.
Helped them get to this point, but it would also be what cost them the season. And just like that, the Warriors are making their first NBA Finals since 1975. But there was a new hurdle waiting. The Miami Heat were waiting with Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and the best player in the league, LeBron James.
Apparently he's not the best player if Shaq won MVP.
But the story wasn't going to be changing. Shaq was still going to be taking advantage of the small lineup that Miami was running. Realistically, there was nobody in this era of basketball that could do anything to slow down Shaq, but this series, O'Neal wouldn't be able to win on his own. Miami was good, like really good, and LeBron was a man on a mission to earn his first ever ring. Shaq's production was high, but LeBron was going to match that, which means this series will ultimately boil down to if Steph Curry can carry the rest of the load. We haven't talked much about Steph so far in these playoffs because Shaq has been such a main focus, but he was critical here. When it mattered the most, Curry was stepping up in the bright lights, and he was playing some fantastic basketball. They may only be in their 3rd year, but they had the best team in ball on the road. And late in Game 6, the Heat were taking a timeout in a close match with the fate of the season in the end. Here in Game 6 of the Finals, the Warriors are up by 2 right now. If they hang on, they can win the series, but Miami's trying to force a Game 7. You have Mario Chalmers here at the top, Steph Curry guarding him, Dwayne Wade, a wide open leg, Klay!
Damn, Klay!
That's like a flagrant 6. He almost ended his career.
Flagrant 6 is insane. Oh my God.
It's off. Shaq gets the rebound. This is fantastic for the Warriors. Steph Curry now pushing the pace. Jefferson had an open lane, didn't take it, slowing it down. The pick and roll with Shaq. The perfect duo right here. Shaq and Curry. Pick and
oh my God.
Curry losing Mario Chalmers. LeBron all by himself. An easy dunk to take the lead from James. If you're the Warriors, I don't know how you choke like that. They're down by 1 now. 30 seconds remaining. This could be their last possession.
Just give it to Shaq. Hey, that's all you got to do. Oh, he hurt.
The easy lay. There's no way he misses it. The Warriors are choking in Game 6. Chris Bosh on the line. Free throw
that's my camera.
One is good. He puts them up by 2. Now he has an opportunity to to put them up by 3 late in game 6.
Chris Bosh ain't making this shit. Hell no.
21 seconds is a
Hell
lot
no.
of time. Chris Bosh, free throw 2 is off. They get the rebound. Warriors timeout.
Just give it a Shaq, bro. Send this bitch to OT.
You have to wonder who is taking the biggest shot of the year. And as Jefferson prepares to inbound, we are about to find out. Coming in the huddle, Jefferson on the inbound here, trying to find open man. They get it to Curry. 20 seconds left.
Shaq, take your big ass to the paint.
Curry driving in. It's going to be the 2. He draws the foul. Curry hit the first free throw.
Let's go.
Exceptional free throw shooter. I doubt he'll miss either. Free throw number 2.
Did he just jinx it?
His entire career so far is good.
Okay,
He gets the game
cool.
tied up. Miami not using a timeout. I don't know if they're out or if they're just choosing not to. LeBron James with it now. 12 seconds remaining in this game. Who's it going to be? Game all tied up. Trying to
Why is Richard Jefferson guarding LeBron?
Hang on. LeBron sized up Jefferson here. He gets the screen from Udonis.
No.
For an overtime. With overtime tipping off, this intense duel was still close. Overtime is just as close as regulation, all tied up, 49 seconds. Steph Curry's not on the court. He is fouled out, which means the Warriors are going to have to find another option. I imagine it's got to be Shaq.
Curry fouled out?
With the ball here on the left wing, swings it around. Richard Jefferson. Jefferson goes it down low to Bogan. No way! It's not Bogan to Bordeaux. Bogan back. The unlikely hero, Andrew Bogan, gets a 2-point lead. Miami now on the other end. LeBron James with it. 30 seconds left to go. He couldn't get it done in regulation. Chris Bosh's screen. LeBron one-on-one with Bogan. Bogan got to defend LeBron. This is a mismatch. LeBron driving in. Nowhere to go. Great pinch by
No.
Shaq.
Alright, he can't shoot. He can't shoot.
And I didn't know what the whistle was at first, but it was a 3-second violation. Chris Bosh gets a free throw for free. Timeout. That's up there with J.R. Smith and the biggest finals mistakes I've ever seen. It's a 1-point game now. Miami has
3
the
seconds.
ball. 19 seconds. They get it to LeBron James, the best player on the plane with the ball here in the left wing. 14 seconds remaining. LeBron looking at driving in. He's one-on-one. LeBron creating separation.
Who's that clapping? He clapped. He's clapped.
Wade, the rebound. Okay, gets it. Okay, coming up big in the clutch. Miami had about to give. So
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
He's coming up huge here in the finals. Nate Robinson on the line, up by 1, 2 free throws. Just under 3 seconds left. The first free throw's good. Nate Robinson.
Let's
is an
go,
NBA champion.
man.
Lost the Celtics. Can he get another one here with the Warriors? Second free throw. That free throw's good.
First ring down.
Down by 3 is going to have to be a full court heave. LeBron James, the full distance of the court. Oh my! Wait, almost left, but it's off.
I thought that bitch went in. I thought that went in.
They're NBA champions, and they defeat the Miami Heat. And just like that, our duo is already winning a ring in year 3, which means they're one step closer to catching Bill Russell. But we still have to see who wins the Finals MVP, because both of our stars made huge impacts in this series, but it can only be one. And it was going to be Shaq, who had a dominant run.
Yeah, we already knew
throughout
that
the
was happening.
entire playoffs.
We already knew that was
rightfully is
happening.
named the Finals MVP, averaging 21 points, 13 rebounds, over 3 blocks a night. He definitely deserved it, and he's really starting to get separation on Curry and look like by far the best player on this team. But with 2013 rolling around, Steph was beginning to blossom into a generational talent himself. All of his abilities were expanding as his points per game catapulted to 25.8, and his playmaking continued to improve with big man Shaq in the pick and roll. He was beginning to look more like a 1B to Shaq as opposed to just his sidekick. And it would lead to the best record in the league, but it was clearly still Shaq's team. With another impressive season, he was winning even more hardware. Not only was he becoming the back-to-back MVP, but he was also earning the Defensive Player of the Year award. Even with Curry's rise, Shaq was still expanding his lead in this competition with another MVP under his belt. On the bright side for Steph, though, the Warriors were tearing apart all of their competition in the playoffs, and no team in the West was a real threat to the repeat. This time the finals was surprisingly not
the
Pacers, but it would be the Pacers and Paul George.
Bro, Paul George is not beating us single-handedly.
Defensive option in the league for Shaq.
Fuck no.
O'Neal was never one to back down from the challenge, though, and would still look to score every opportunity he got. But that ego could be hurting the Warriors more than it was helping them, because backed by some exceptional play from Indiana's main star Paul George, the Pacers were off to an early 2-0 lead in the series. These finals were far from over, though, because the Warriors were the team with more experience here, and they put that to use as they were rallying back after a rough start to the series. Both Shaq and Curry were picking the games up a notch and reclaimed control of the matchup as they went up 3-2. Last year they faced a close game 6 that came down to the final moments of an overtime game, but this year the match wasn't even close because the Pacers were crushing the Warriors in Indiana, and they were forcing a final game 7.
Like, this shouldn't even be competition.
Back in 2010, so they were prepared for this moment. But George was incredibly determined and wouldn't let this be easy. While Curry and Shaq were both scoring over 30 points and playing off of each other's strengths, the entire Pacers roster were playing their most efficient games of the year. For the second straight finals, we were having a down-to-the-wire game. We have a close Game 7 of the finals, 2 finals in a row with very close climatic finishes. This one is huge for the Warriors. They don't have much room for error if they're going to pass Bill Russell. George Hill at the top, Curry guarding him one-on-one. David West has great position down there versus the terrible defender David Lee.
Where is Shaq?
All tied up. Steph with the ball now, just shy of a minute remaining in this game. He's got the smaller DJ Augustine on him.
Shoot that.
Is a good matchup here for Steph. Isolate one-on-one in the left wing. Steph driving in. Great defense, slowing him down. Harrison Barnes with it now. Barnes driving in. Barnes the pull-up. Barnes.
Okay.
We keep seeing these unlikely heroes stepping up in these big moments in this simulation. DJ Augustine bringing the ball down with Curry on him. Another backdoor to West. Like over to Lee.
Let's go.
But this time he's able to get the stop. They're pushing the pace. The 2KI is not found. That is strange. The Pacers are going to trust their defense with 25
I don't know
seconds
why.
left.
Yeah, that's game.
Shaq.
Shaq.
Over Hibbert. Shaq gives them a 4-point cushion.
That's game. That's game.
Like their franchise's biggest possession of all time. You have DJ Augustine, the pull-up jumper. He's not like that. David Lee is going to the line. The Warriors will be repeating after squeezing by with the win in this finals. And this year it was Steph being crowned the Finals MVP thanks in part to Roy Hibbert, which means now he's slowly closing the gap between him and the Aristotle. Curry winning here was huge because if he did not get the Finals MVP, Shaq was pretty much running away with this thing. He was flirting with a triple-double, but what really stands out, 50-50-90 splits. Steph was on absolute fire. And with 2014 rolling around, Steph Curry was continuing to be on fire with even more improvements. Curry was one of the most efficient players in the entire NBA, and his stats were starting to explode as he was breaking out as one of the best point guards ever. His numbers would be slightly held back due to sharing looks with Shaq, which meant he wasn't getting an MVP even with all the strides he's taken, but he was helping his team earn the greatest record in professional basketball history. And the regular season wasn't the end of this historic run, because in the finals, the Warriors were facing the Miami Heat, who at this point were starting to get out of their primes outside of LeBron. Miami was still a good team, but this wouldn't be anywhere near as close to competitive as it was in 2012, and Steph Curry was picking apart their defense. It would seem his confidence is at an all-time high after getting a Finals MVP last year, because this year, it was all Steph for 4 games straight, and not only would he help his team get off the sweep, but also was getting yet another Finals MVP, which now means he's only one trophy behind Shaq. And with 2015 coming around and Draymond about to improve massively, there would be a lot more Finals MVPs to go around. Because as we know, this would start the dynasty the Warriors had in real life, with multiple championships and of course, the 73-win season to set an NBA record. Now as you can imagine, when you add Shaq to the mix, the rest of the NBA would stand zero chance.
Fuck around and go 82-0.
Over the next 5 years, the Warriors will be at 8 straight championships after beating Cleveland 4 times and defeating Toronto in 2019, which means they are now only 4 away from passing Russell. As far as the Finals MVPs, Curry got 2 in 2015 and 2016, and Shaq on the other hand got 1 after beating the Raptors, which means now, while Shaq may have 2 more MVPs, our stars have the same number of trophies. And with Durant leaving the team for Brooklyn, our final 5-year stretch would be critical. Luckily for the Warriors, Shaq was still in his absolute prime years. This season would equate to the 2002 season with the Lakers in real life, and Shaq was somehow still getting better. There was no MVP for our duo the last 5 seasons, especially after KD arrived, but now in 2020, Shaq was regaining control of the competition by adding another MVP to his resume. Heading into the playoffs with both Steph and Shaq firing on all cylinders, it was looking like they were locked to be earning their 9th straight championship, but tragedy was about to strike. Their opponents were young and hungry after their superstar Anthony Davis gave up on them. Led by the young Zion Williamson and the supporting cast of great role players, the Pelicans were doing the unthinkable. As the 7th seed, they were pulling off possibly the most unlikely upset in NBA history, and they would be sending the Warriors packing. Honestly, at a loss for words. I don't think the Warriors really underperformed as much as 2K Sim just kind of cheated them, because I resimmed this twice just for fun to see what would happen, and the Warriors swept 4-0 both of those times, but this is what happened the first time. We're going to keep it authentic. They lose in 7 somehow, and now that means they can't lose any more, or otherwise it's going to be impossible to pass Bill Russell. Their duo was quickly reassuring me that the loss to the Pelicans just boiled down to a fluke, because the next year they were right back on the right side of things. They blazed straight through the West in the playoffs, and they were back in the finals. And with the Nets waiting there, we'd see the same story we've seen 100 times. Brooklyn didn't have a single real center on their entire roster, which meant it was going to be barbecue chicken for Shaq in the paint. He's been in the league for over 10 years and has won 8 rings, but this finals will be by far his best yet. He was clearly going to be winning the finals MVP, and there was nothing Curry could do about this one. Calling his stats impressive would be a massive understatement, and he'd be the #1 reason the Warriors were back to winning a championship. They defeat the Nets in a sweep to earn ring number 9, but next year's finals wouldn't be so easy for Shaq. In 2022, the finals would feature one of the NBA's best centers, and Shaq would definitely have his hands full. Now that certainly doesn't mean that Shaq was being contained or outplayed by Embiid, because don't get it twisted. O'Neal was 100% outperforming Joel, but his production wouldn't be at its max potential, which left the door wide open for Steph to take advantage in this series with limited perimeter defenders in Philly. Curry's production at this point in his career was still at a peak, and while Shaq was starting to slow down a bit, Steph absolutely wasn't, and it would pay off for him. He earned the finals MVP after his team defeated the Sixers in 5 to get the duo's 10th championship, and now our competition is back within 1 as we enter this final stretch. But like I already said, Shaq was starting to regress going into these last years. He was still a productive piece and would be a major asset to the Warriors, but we'd definitely be seeing a drop off in his abilities, and it would reflect in his stats. He was still good enough to be an all-star, but he was a shell of the MVP caliber player we've come to know. The one bright side was the Warriors also had Jordan Poole, who had a breakout season last year and will continue to play well this year as a secondary shot creator. With the playoffs in full swing, it was clearly Steph who was the face of the team for these last seasons, and he'd be the one earning them the conference finals matchup. For years now, Steph has been the clear-cut best PG in the entire NBA, but now Ja was trying to take that title from him. They'd be matched up against each other in the conference finals here, and Morant was out for blood. Memphis also had some great bigs, which would leave Shaq at less than his best, meaning Steph and Ja were having a back-and-forth battle this entire series, and it would be a matter of inside dominance from Ja Morant versus the outside brilliance of the great Steph Curry. Ultimately, they'd face a final game for a trip to the finals, and it would be close. Close game here down the stretch. Yet again, another down to the wire game 7. It's all tied up with a minute. Backdoor cut to Wiggins.
Hey, what a pass.
I was barely even able to realize what was going on. They went so quick there. Steph Curry now, it doesn't look like Ja's on the court. I don't know if he's suspended for some kind of firearm issue. But they get great position. Down low to Jaren Jackson. He's not going to let that one miss. The Warriors are not using the timeout. They're just going to play basketball here. Steph Curry, one-on-one. Tyus Jones here at the top. No screen as of yet, but here comes Shaq setting that screen. He's old, but he can still get it done. Shaq to roll. Shaq to lay. Oh, he's going to the line. One of the worst free throw shooters of all time. Shaquille O'Neal on the line, but it matters the most. They have to win this game, or it is not possible to pass Bill Russell. Free throw one is good. Come on, Shaq. Free throw number 2 from the Diesel. You're a veteran. You got to hit these now. You're not dominating the paint. You got to do what you can do, Shaq. Come on. You got to hit this free throw. Number 2 is off. The Grizzlies get the rebound. No time out. They're pushing the pace. Bane running all the way up the court. The backdoor to Jones. Wow. I don't know how you let that happen in a situation like this. 21 seconds left, though. Down by 1. You still have time. Steph Curry in his prime. This is where you have to have a big-time play making a big-time play. Shaq, the roll. Curry finds
Let's go.
The dunk. The duo coming up big in the clutch.
Come on, ain't no way we finna let the Grizzlies without Ja.
All you need is a stop for a trip to the NBA Finals. We have Desmond Bane with the ball against
Hell no.
I'm pretty sure he is
Hell
fouled
no.
out. 6 seconds left. The screen from Jaren Jackson. Come on, you
Go, Clay. Let's go, Clay. Let's go, Clay.
It's off. The Warriors are headed to yet another NBA Finals. And while the conference finals left us with a climactic close series, the NBA Finals wouldn't live up to the same height, as the Warriors were defeating the Cavaliers relatively easily without much theatrics. After 6 games, the Warriors were being crowned champions yet again, which means they are now tied with Bill Russell for the NBA's most rings of all time, and they have 1 more year to pass him. And by no surprise, Steph Curry's getting another MVP, over 30 points per game in this finals. He was incredible, and he's now all tied up with Shaq, and going into the last season of the simulation, they are going to try to pass Bill Russell. But there was a major problem, and it was the noticeable regression of Shaq. Matching up with the Lakers in the playoffs, it would be more obvious than ever, as the paint-centric team was harassing Golden State and taking advantage of the older, out-of-shape Shaq. Possession after possession, they were attacking him in the paint, and things weren't looking good with the entire challenge on the line.
Round
1, things are not looking good for the Warriors. They're down by 3 late. in Game 5, and they're down 3-1 in the series. Steph Curry does have sharpshooter takeover right now, though. Maybe he can will his team back into this one. Steph trying to create some space. He's getting doubled. Steph is getting doubled. Someone get over. Klay Thompson's wide open. Klay!
Shoot it, Klay!
It took way too long to get it to him. Klay driving it in now. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Klay Thompson gets fouled. Klay does hit both free throws, but my hopes are still very low that the Warriors are going to pull this off. Even if they win this game, they're still going to be down 3-2 in the series. It's going to be tough to come back. LeBron James going all the way down low. He's in a great position. His hook shot is no good. Shaq gets the board, though.
Let's go.
Anthony Davis had great position. They have a chance. That might have been Shaq's final hurrah. He was not supposed to get to that rebound. That might be the last bit of gas that man has in his career. Steph now, 20 seconds left in this game. A bucket here takes the lead. Shaq the screen, the pick and roll, the duo. Shaq slipping, nowhere to go. Steph Curry to step back, pump.
Pass it.
He's stuck. He gets it back out to Shaq. Shaq takes it in the corner.
Curry.
Steph with the ball now.
Shaq.
Shaq takes the lead. They do it yet again in year 15. Laker timeout is not over yet. 4 seconds left. If the Warriors can hold on and they can get a stop here, there's still a chance that they can win a championship. Looking for the inbound. They get inbound in a row. Nowhere to go. He finds the backdoor lob. I'm speechless. The Warriors are losing off of an Anthony Davis alley-oop. And just like that, the Warriors have fallen short of possibly passing Bill Russell, but tying him is still notable. In the end, Steph's longevity played a role in him tying Shaq in trophies to establish them both as the most important piece of the team. And speaking of longevity, what if LeBron James did this same challenge with Wembanyama? Find out by clicking this video next.
That's so crazy. Niggas lost off of a fucking backdoor alley hoop to send them home. Well, that's it for this video. We gonna react to more of his videos though. Like, he got a dope channel. Like, look at this. Like, yeah, he got a lot of good videos. But yeah, I'm gonna see y'all later, bro. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you still here, deuce.